About 6 months ago, I decided to quit my job and go on this journey of self-discovery. This journey where I would unravel the extreme anxiety that I was feeling, the loss, the feeling of just being lost in the world, of not really knowing my place. And honestly, I wasn't prepared for what was to come. I thought the journey would be just this easeful way of finding myself and deconditioning everything that I knew. And what happened was just this beautiful journey that took me to honestly the depths of my soul in order to come out the other side more embodied, more joyful, and more in tune with my life than I feel I've ever been. But firstly, I had to realise the state of my anxiety. And this is what happened. And this little monkey is coming in to see me. Tacy! Oh no, he's noticed the mic thing. He might eat it. Oh, right. Come on, babes. Come on, you're gonna have to go. Come on, over there. Oh, okay, come on. Oh my gosh. There was a period of my life after I had resigned from my full-time employment, and I honestly thought that there would be this feeling of freedom, this peace, this clarity. And I was surprised and very much grounded into the fact that that wasn't the case. That what I experienced was this period of feeling lost, of not knowing what I was doing, where I was going. And although I had prepared for that, having resigned with no follow-up plan, no plan of action per se, suddenly everything was becoming very, very real. And I had to surrender to that feeling. I had all these intentions of ticking off my to-do list and building a business, of serving women, and the intention of hitting the ground running. And the absolute opposite happened. This body, she wasn't prepared. And she wasn't in a grounded state for me to put into play and put into practice all of the things that I had intended to do. And without realizing, I wasn't physically, emotionally, and spiritually ready for what I had intended to do. And it's so interesting how when you're in tune with your body and your senses and your emotions, how the body really holds all the wisdom. And you might want something that is just outside your reach, but unless your consciousness is in tune and aligned and able to hold the capacity of exactly what you're calling in, there will be an adjustment that's needed. And that's exactly what happened to me. I spent hours and hours and days of silence and solitude, in a sense that I didn't have the energy or the capacity or the willingness to push through that state of stillness anymore, of that fatigue and that tiredness. Because what I hadn't realized that had happened over my career, my full-time career, is that I was so emotionally, physically and mentally drained from the onslaught of chasing a false dream, of the 4:30 a.m. morning hours that I would wake up, of the sitting in traffic to get to work, of the job, the career that I enjoyed but wasn't soul fulfilling. And after 12 years of living a life that wasn't aligned with my need for grounding, I was almost floating through life on anxiety, on lack of sleep, on worry, on chasing physical aesthetics that would bring me out of how I'm feeling and make me focus on what my life looked like opposed to what my life actually felt like. And last year it took someone saying to me, "What are you doing with your life?" for me to sit down and think, what am I doing with my life? And there was just a seed planted. And from that seed, there would be moments of me wondering what I'm capable of, what is in me that hasn't been created yet. And I've always had this interest in spirituality and growth and the body and somatic techniques and practices. And there was always this missing piece. I couldn't quite embody the person I was trying to be. There was always this disconnect. And so I felt that the only way to fully immerse myself in finding out what I'm capable of, what is in me yet to be birthed, what creative aspects of my being are yet to be found out and unravelled and touched, was to remove myself from the life that I was living, to fully give up my employed job, my security, and trust that whatever unravelled in my life, whatever path I then found or was guided to, would be either a stepping stone or a path to where I was meant to end up. And the past 6 months have been the most testing and the most fulfilling 6 months of my life. I have met people through trips and through other friends that I would never have been in contact with before. I have travelled to countries and sat in ceremony and witness the beauty of this world that I would never have got to witness if I hadn't taken that chance on myself and taken that scary step to release everything that I had learnt, every aspect of myself that I was trying to uphold that didn't sit with me anymore. And in doing so, in allowing and surrendering and trusting that whatever was meant to be for me would work out, it has led me to find paths that I would never have touched, to witness things that I would never have seen, and to meet people that have touched my heart far beyond anyone that I would ever have met. And this began with a year ago last January, so January 23. I entered into a somatic psychospiritual course with my mentor, and something changed within me. This world opened up that I wasn't aware of. And not this world externally, but this world internally. This vast universe of intricate cellular abilities and potency and creativity that I just wasn't aware of. All I could see was the anxiety of the days, the chase of the days, the need to achieve and be someone and be somewhere at a certain time. And I was so conditioned into this societal way of being that I couldn't see the wood for the trees. I was so wrapped up in what I physically looked like, achieving a state of being, achieving a physical outlook, achieving validation solely from what I looked like. And that often meant losing sleep, overconsumption of coffee, overconsumption of stimuli, of stimulus, of noise, And the one thing I have learned having this 6 months to gently unravel all of that conditioning and all of the noise and all of the projection that I've put on myself. And the very first thing I learned when I spent hours and hours in solitude and silence is that there is such importance in the peace and ease and the felt sense of the body. That the body knows all of the answers, as cliche as that sounds, when you're willing to listen. And that was my thing. I couldn't listen to this body because there was so much external noise. And I'm not suggesting that everyone goes out and quits their job to find themselves, but for me, there was really that dedication to it and that level of depth that I needed to go to touch the depth that I wanted to feel, to unravel the conditioning, the deep, deep layers of conditioning that I couldn't even see were on me, like armor. So the very first thing that I learnt was the importance of stillness and peace. And that in stillness and silence and presence, there is resounding awareness. So if anything, over this last 6 months, even though I have traveled and met community and experienced the beauty of this world, through everything there has been this thread of peace, this thread of stillness, and this thread of presence that I keep coming back to. And by unraveling all those layers, by taking off the armor and really taking a mindful look at what's underneath, what's left to be unraveled, what's left to be deconditioned, that thread of stillness has now become the backbone of my life. If I could take a bird's eye view of myself over 6 months ago, there was so much I was withholding within myself that I was clutching onto and grasping onto as validation for my life, even in the daily routines that now feel like such a distant memory. They feel like a distant past version of myself that I can witness with so much gratitude and so much love for that version of me that was trying so hard to fit in and be accepted and be loved in the world, when all I needed to do was be accepted and loved by myself. To witness myself with such loving eyes and an open heart that I can learn to forgive myself in each breath. That I can feel the felt senses of this body. That I can hear my thoughts and not get swept up with them. And I feel that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I feel that there is so much wisdom held within the cells of your body that if we can only be still and learn to unravel some of that armor, that we'll actually find out what's our potential. What are we capable of that we are not even aware of? What creative endeavors are hidden in the cells of your body that you are not even aware of, that could be created because you don't have time and presence and awareness and the ability to try something new? There's been so many aspects over the last 6 months that I have ebbed and flowed through. Moments when I felt so unbelievably lost, and moments when I felt so unbelievably inspired. And I realized that the seasons that I was going through, the rebirths and the deaths of the people and the versions of me that I was and the versions of me that I am, was so needed. There was such a shedding of the person and the version of me that I was over 6 months ago, and the shedding hasn't finished. There will still be moments of dis-ease and moments of disconnection, and then moments when I'll feel inspired again and feel new again. But what I wasn't prepared for was such a transition, because over 6 months ago I really wasn't aware of the depth of my conditioning until I had that stillness and that time to reflect. And there really was a pendulum swing from working full time, chasing achievement, chasing validation, minimal sleeping in hours, just this frantic, over-caffeinated, egotistic version that was chasing and chasing and chasing for any achievement, with so many layers of armor on not to get hurt, to take in the leap and trusting my body and trusting the intuition to leave that job, to then pendulum swing to this resounding stillness that was surrounding me and bathing me. Whew. To not having any energy to move, to think, to even get out of the bath for 4 hours at a time, to then coming out of hibernation slowly and gently, to find a new peace, to find a new baseline, to find a new presence in which to live through. And I value that experience so much, because without taking that leap and fully immersing myself in the ability to surrender who I was in that state, I would never have found this new baseline, this new peace, this new ease from which to live through. So I'm both excited and inspired to share this journey, to share my journey, to share my lessons, to share the trials and tribulations and the tests and all of the beautiful, beautiful lessons that I'm learning along the way, to live this new, inspired, easeful life. Coming from periods of my life that have felt so constricting. Through the eating disorders, through the drug addiction, through the domestic abuse, through periods of self-harm, and realizing that each and every single version of myself that was living through those times, she was just trying to find her way, just trying to find ease, and trying to find a freedom from things that were hurting her at that time. And I can honestly say, as I sit here now with such forgiveness and such unconditional love and acceptance for all those past versions, that it was all worth it and worthy. And what I have realized over the last 6 months is that I really want to help other women who have been in similar stages and experiences to myself, searching for themselves in perhaps paths that are not leading them down the right road. And that if I can be of any ease and any help and a pocket of freedom, a pocket of ease that they can welcome into their lives, then I'm willing to do so, and grateful to do so, and feel very blessed that I could have helped someone in any way, shape or form. And having found this peace with my body, this acceptance of who I am, this unconditional love that passes all physical dimensions and lands so deeply in my body that it feels like this unrockable state, this unresounding, grounded knowing of who I am. And if I can pass that to another woman, to stand in her power, to stand in her knowing of who she is, then what a beautiful gift to give to the world.